Good afternoon and welcome to ATN Society Watch. This is a program where we ventilate societal issues. We give them aggregate attention with a view to preferring solutions that will benefit humanity. Let's go through our headlines. Assault. Lady brutalized for rejecting marriage proposal. Hookup. 2 arrested over lady's abduction. Mother. Mentally unstable man kills 1. And protest, police allegedly tear gas peaceful demonstrators. We are open for sponsorship of this program. Jingles and advert placements, news and event coverage, personality, society and political interviews, product service promotion and call measures. You can watch us live on www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We're on Avo TV channel 205, Limex TV platform, Ifestec platform, Apple TV, Ninja TV and Iroko TV. Connect with us on all our ATN socials. Subscribe, like, and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. You can catch us on X and Atlantic TV Net. We'll go on a break. When we get back, I'll introduce my guests and we'll dive right into the discuss. Please stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Here with me in the studio to dive into this report is Chukwusi Ikechukwu, Public Affairs Analyst. We're so glad to have you join us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
How are you this Monday morning?
Thank you.
I'm well. Let's go right into it. A lot of things have been happening over the weekend, and we've got a few to discuss today in the studio. All right. River State Police Command has arrested a 46-year-old man, Abi Baragon, for allegedly assaulting and stabbing a woman who rejected his marriage proposal in Port Harcourt. The incident reportedly took place at Donkbolu Oroworoko axis of Mile 3. Baragon, a father of 4, was traced and arrested after a viral video showed the injured victim raising an alarm. The suspect had fled the scene immediately after the attack. Police spokesperson Grace Ngirige Koko said operatives from the Human Rights Department tracked him down using intelligence and technical surveillance. He initially denied the allegation but later confessed to stabbing the victim with a bottle. Investigations revealed that the attack stemmed from the victim's refusal to marry him after discovering he was already married. The victim has been hospitalized and is receiving medical care. Commissioner of Police Olugbenga Adepoju praised the swift action of the operatives and urged the public to continue sharing useful information. The police have vowed to prosecute the suspect and warned that no offender will escape justice in Rivers State. Rivers State is a lot in the news this morning. But what are your thoughts on this report?
Another crime of passion.
Another crime of passion.
If you ask me, crimes of passion seems to becoming more commonplace. I mean, they have always been there with us, but at times there seems to be a season for it. Just the same way you have planting season and harvesting season. Right. This seems to be the season for it, All these things, like you said, a lot happening at the weekend seems to be related around passion and other. But you see, I think it points to, for me, if you ask me, it points to a kind of insanity. If I pledge love to you in 1 minute,
okay,
and the next minute, because you refuse to return my love, or maybe you even accepted that you love me, but can't go the step further and turn to hate. I mean, I want to assume that for you to have said I want to marry you, you probably what preceded should have been I love you. Then how did it all suddenly turn to I hate you and I want to kill you, or maybe I want to enjoy you and stabbing you? Maybe there was an ego thing involved.
When you say an ego thing, what do you mean?
Maybe the guy feel deflated and some people feel that way, but it's usually a teenage thing. I find it very funny when a full-grown man feel
with 4 children.
That's even another side of it. You're already in a marriage and you want to marry another one. Of course, some people say this Africa, people marry. There's they say polygamy is part of the system and all that. But then the least expected of you is to let the partner or the intending partner or the big partner to know that there is an already existing wife here, or there is an already existing husband relationship. But to secret from the person, to me, it's unfair. So if she had said yes, you would have gone on with marriage right and not only for the lady to discover that you were already married. I mean, that's unfair. And then you have children, another. But it's crazy, whether it was ego or something, it's crazy to have gone to the point of stabbing somebody, which, when it comes to stab, you never can tell how far it can be separated from or removed from fatality. Right. That would have been a murder case or another. So I don't think it's fantastic for people to, no matter, people may argue you don't know how much has invested. No matter how much you invested, I keep saying it. Yeah, the things you do in love relationship, maybe you consider it an investment. Yes, it is, but it is not an investment that is guaranteed to give you the same return. That is why you should also, before as I'm investing in you, if I'm eager that it must give me a certain kind of return, I should be reading, make the same effort to read this thing I'm investing in. Does this person, I mean, as they say, am I seeing the green light before? As I said, I love you. Did I see the green light that suggests that you equally love me before I move the next?
Now, for when you look at that in this case, from the angle you're coming in, did she see the green light? Did she give him any green light? Possibly. She might have been loving and sweet.
Oh, yeah, he would have given the green light. I mean, asking I want to marry you is enough green light.
Right, and she gave the green light that she was invested, in this relationship. But I feel like when the green light, what do we do when the green light fades now? Especially as regards with things like how fine. You see, I'm in love with somebody, right?
There's a level of deceit.
Right.
Here.
Now, when we talk about the level of deceit, the whole idea is that she probably pulled out of this, like the report mentioned, because she realized exactly.
So that's deceit. You know, like I keep saying, the basic thing, much as you may not be able to present your life history in one go, but there's some basic things about you which a prospective partner, whether it's even a spouse to be or relationship, should know about you. For example, let's say even if you were married and the marriage does not exist, maybe you can wish it away, just maybe, which is difficult because there are people who would know that, oh, this guy was married before. But where you have children, you can't wish those children away. I mean, how do you want to get married when you have children and you don't let the person know that you have children? Even if those children are not going to relate to you, whether it be a man or a woman, you can't deny the fact that if I'm married to you and you have children or even a child, even if that child don't live with us, you can't deny the fact that there's a possibility that that child would want to visit the mom or the dad. So these are things that should be placed. So now if you deny it, if you deny that you have children, are you going to perpetually deny those children? Or you think I'll deny the children today, then after marriage, on the night of our marriage, I'll tell you that, oh, please, I had some children before, and you think the lady will give you a round of applause. Wow, I didn't know you are this productive to have had 4 children or something. I mean, it's not going to sound fine. So the basic thing is that the person should have known. So anybody that says no, I mean, even if the marriage was on, without because you didn't know the person had children. If you ask me, that would be a good ground to say, because the person should know that there were children before. I mean, every other thing that happened pre-marriage can be hidden. If it's a lady, even if you've had, maybe a series of miscarriage, abortion, or whatever, those can be wished away. But the moment you have a life, children, or a child, and that child is living, I mean, the other person needs to know about the existence of that person.
Very well done. When you look at the structure of the whole problem, this particular story, how, as a man, when did we come? Because you remember the time we met, we did talk about crime of passion again, and now we are here again with a new report. Why do you think many people, and I'm not going to use, the gender, women, both genders, why do you think many people in relationships have come to the point when one partner says, I'm leaving, it has come to the point where people say, if I can't have you, no one else will, and they go for the kill?
I think it's about people managing their emotion. You are dealing with a human. And human, the way humans operate, human is a free moral agent. In spite of all the lovey-dovey, some things can happen and the lovey-dovey is not around. One thing you should realize is that you can never tie anybody perpetually against their wish. So if you're going to remain tied to me perpetually, it should be because you want to be tied to me, not because at certain time you don't want to stay and I insist you must stay. And I mean, in some cases, like even the passion of crime, you even realize that it's even more terrible for you to force somebody to stay. Some of the people that have killed their spouse, whether it be man or woman, it is because they didn't see how that spouse, or it could be because they didn't see how that spouse would cease being a part of their life. So if at that point you had let that person go, you probably would leave. So I don't think it's a fantastic thing to insist that people would be for you. Would you be disappointed? Absolutely, absolutely. I have invested my time, thinking that we are, forever till death do us part, and all of a sudden you are walking away. Well, it could be devastating, especially if the person didn't see it coming. But you still have to manage your emotion, realizing that what you are dealing with is a free moral agent. It's a human that have a will of its own. After appealing to you, after trying to make you see reason why we should stay, and you still think it's best for you to go. Painful as it is, I mean, like some of those songs of old, we have come to the end of the road. I think it was 20 or something. So just know when you have come to the end of the road and take another turn.
Thank you so much for your insight on that report. 2 suspects have been arrested in Rivers State for allegedly kidnapping a woman they lured through a dating site. Police say the men collected a ransom of 200,000 naira from the victim's family. The suspects, identified as 25-year-old Ifeanyi Chukwu Alozie and Amira Kunwene, were arrested at their hideout in the Igwe community, HA local government area. Police spokesperson Grace Ngirige Koko said the 24-year-old victim was abducted on September 21 at Igwe HA after meeting the suspects online. She was held captive while they demanded ransom from her family. Acting on intelligence, operatives of the Social Operation and Intelligence Team tracked and arrested the suspect at about 10 p.m. on September 22. The Commissioner of Police has commended the swift response of the operatives and assured that the suspects will face prosecution. The police also warned the public to exercise caution when interacting with strangers online, especially on dating platforms. Specifically, CSP Grace Ngirige Koko did mention, avoid hookup and find something credible to do. What are your thoughts on this report?
The problem may not be hookup because either online or on-site hookup do happen.
Right.
So the issue is being safety conscious. How much have you known the person to be in a private place?
Right.
The person, I would always prescribe for people you're meeting for the first time. It's always better you have your outing in a public space.
Right.
Where you are guaranteed that this is not his stuff, this is not, and he also, if he bothers, is guaranteed that this is not your stuff. And this is not just for sexual relationship, any kind of relationship, whether it's business relationship, whether we met as football fans, whether we met as a political association, because, I mean, when you talk of online meeting, people tend to think that it's only relationship, sexual, romantic that meet online. No, you meet people on political platform online. I have met people who we scheduled meeting physically and we went, but it all started online. But the thing is, first, if I'm meeting you online, I should be able to, especially if it's going to translate to physical meeting, I should be able to take my time. Don't meet you today and jump into physical meeting immediately. I'll take our time to, if possible, go through your profile, the things you have been posting, who you are and what you do and all that. If possible, have a phone discussion with you. Maybe a phone discussion can even tell me 1 or 2 things about you, and then, of course, when we are scheduling the meeting, it shouldn't be insistent that the meeting must hold that in my bedroom, something. It should be an open place where you are guaranteed that, like I said, it's not your turf, it's not my turf. If possible, before the day of the date, view the place, especially if, for example, you are asking me to come over to your place and I don't know the place, we are meeting in a public place, but I can take out time before the day to go survey that place, know that public place is real public and not a quasi-private arena. So people should be careful. So it's not just about romantic hookup or something, that's a moral subject, but for security reasons, people should, be security conscious. Make your ground finding. Don't be too much in a hurry to run into people's, and whether you met them physically or on site or online, the same security consciousness. The difference is that if I'm meeting you on site, I can see you. I probably can tell 1 or 2 things about you, maybe how you look, something like that. I can even possibly see, would this guy have many scars on his face? What are these scars for? And all that. But if you are also blinded online, you may even meet the person holding a gun and you think that it's okay, and you can even praise him for it until the gun is pointed at you. Feel like, oh, this guy holding a gun, this is the real deal. That means nobody can come to me until the gun is pointed at you. So it's about being security conscious more than whether you meet online or on site.
Right, very well. Thank you, sir.
Whether it is for hookup, for business, for politics, whatever the meeting is for.
Right. This particular report, now, it was sent from the victim's own part of the story. She did meet the guy on a platform. They talked about, because you talked about being security conscious.
Absolutely.
From her repertoire of the event, she went to Igbo from Port Harcourt. She got there by 8 p.m. in the night. I mean, that is someone that is planning to sleep over at Igbo. Of course, if you don't have a family member in where you're going to. she wanted to meet with the guy. She went for the hookup, like the report says. And when she did arrive at the hookup venue, she was picked up. So many, you know, in between stories with the you know, with the whole report. But given, you know, recently I stumbled on a particular report that, you know, sent me back to a thought memory I had. I don't know if you remember the lady that went to Lagos to shop for clothes. I think it was in 2013 or 20? Is it around 2013? She had gone to Lagos from Abuja.
Is it the Cynthia lady?
The Cynthia lady,
His
right?
father was a military person.
Her father was a military person.
Yeah, very gruesome murder.
Exactly, very gruesome. You remember it very well. Now, when we think, and that story resonated with me a lot at that time, because I was also in a similar business, and I had followed people I do not know to go and find out about the Lagos market. I stumbled upon it quite recently, and I'm like, this stuff can happen to anyone, sadly. But how do you think now, in these times, people intentionally, right, put themselves in harm's way? For Cynthia, and I can speak for myself, I went to someone's store in Port Harcourt.
Cynthia was particularly horrible. That was a master's degree holder pursuing a
right, and she had a boutique, and she wanted a boutique, and she was talking to the real suppliers of most of the items she sells. She met them on Facebook, and she had traveled to Lagos to buy. I personally walked into a shop in Port Harcourt, a few shops in Port Harcourt, and I said, hello, I don't know where you guys buy stuff. Can I follow you people? And it was around, say, 2012 or thereabouts. Can I follow you guys? And they said, oh, you can come along with us. I think I was in the university or about to round up at that. You know, I was still in the university. And they said, you can come along with us. You should just pay a fee for us to take you over there, right? And I got into this journey with these guys, and we traveled. It was a crazy movement, because we did go to Lagos. Say in the night, we got to the what's it called, Mandlas, or where shopping plaza, and we bought stuff, and we left that same evening back to Port Harcourt. It was, but anything could have happened to me.
No,
you
but
know.
you see, I insist on, sorry,
right.
I see talk of security issues.
Right.
With the example you cited,
right.
the lady, you also noticed that there was a detour to private. To privacy. She was lodged in a hotel. You know, met these guys. I think brought them to her room.
The Cynthia lady?
Yes.
Oh, she was already talking to them. She met them on Facebook.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. But there was a private, you know, bringing room, even though she was the one that lodged into the room, you know, brought her to her. Like, I lodge in a room, I don't know you, and I'm inviting you to my room. You see, it's as dangerous as coming to your room as inviting you to your room. That's a private angle of it also. And this was not one person, 2 or 3 persons inviting you to a room. I mean, even for a guy, if I invite 3 ladies in a room, it's the conventional thinking is that the guy is stronger than the lady. So if you and I are to get involved in a bout, I'll probably retain you to shut up. But if you guys are 3, I probably may not have that advantage of strength in fighting all 3 of you. So I think, with due respect, you know, not trying to judge or bring back memories or something, it was still on security issue. Those guys wouldn't have been invited to her room
in the first place.
Yes. So now, if they come visiting her, I know we have all, you know, gone to see somebody in a hotel room or somebody, but for me specifically, it's usually for people I know very well. And I give it to some of the persons I've gone to their room. There are also people who know me very well and say, I mean, there was an element of trust, whether they be man or woman, to say, okay, oh, I'm in this room, can you come upstairs? And we did whatever business we did and left. But for people you're still trying to meet, it's still the same security thing.
Exactly.
But when I come visiting you, we should sit in the lounge in a public place and talk. After that, I go back to my...
Now, given how gruesome that situation ended with Cynthia, the reason I pointed out is, why do you think nowadays people haven't learned from that at all? People still wake up in the morning, travel long distances to see strangers they barely know.
No, you see, there is something, there is a common saying that I think I agree with that saying. Also, I've also said it severally. One of the things I've learned from history is that people don't learn from history. Put David and Goliath here now. The same scenario will play out again. Repeat that process in a few moments. Every now and again, the same history is playing out. So, like I said, I have learned from history that people don't learn from history. You would have naturally thought that people learn from history. But the simple, and that is why you have the word in image. That is why even amongst nations, the things that caused war years back, if the same scenario play out now, you will still have, I mean, you see everybody pointing out that this is what led to Second World War, and it seems it's going to lead to Third War. So people don't learn from history. That's very unfortunate. People have heard story how this person left Port Harcourt to visit this person in Aba, and so thing happened. And as you're reading that story, you're on a journey to the same place. You didn't pause to wonder. Like this case now, what as this story is, what came to mind is that hook up Iweche, Port Harcourt to Iweche. I would have thought, I don't know, but I would have thought that there should be some geographical calculation when people do hook up. I mean, for me, Port Harcourt seems to be a more developed place. Why am I going to Iweche? One would have thought that maybe even for the ladies that do hook up would have thought that the money is in Port Harcourt. So why are you going to Iweche for hook up? But I don't know. I'm not into that business. But But then you also look at if there is need for help, would help come to me when I'm at Iweche, and I'm just Iweche because that's what it could have been. And do I live safe zone? That's why I keep saying security consciousness. Why? And it happens in our everyday life. Right. Why would I come to see you, and the room is dark, and I don't know you? You're asking me to come in. Please, come. We will put on the lights. Why not to come in? Little things, security consciousness can save people a whole lot. Like I said, it's not just in the area of hookup, it's in the area, even business. People say, I met the guy online, they duped me. I met the guy physically, they told me. Because there was no proper security check. And I keep saying, whether it's be for hookup, business, politics, whatever, however you're meeting people, we can't deny the fact today that people will keep meeting people online. Right. And some of those online meeting has translated into profitable relationship, whether it be marriage, whether it be business, whether it be politics, whether it be even religious. And people have met somebody on social media, they say, the guy that got me saved, I met him on social media, the guy that helped me with admission, like that. But however that meeting, be security conscious. Even if I'm meeting you in my compound where I live, I should know something about you before committing my life to you. And committing my life to you may not just be in relationship, whatever business we are doing. Before I start going out with you, before I start staying out late with you, what do I know about you? And that brings to mind, when I'm talking to you, do I assess what you're saying? If you're talking to me and I'm full of what's like, maybe I'm not talking to you, but at least you're listening to me, I'm talking to somebody else over the phone, I will kill you, stuff like that. You should pause and wonder that this guy that is always talking of violence, what kind of person is he? You don't have to wait for a physical evidence. But my language is full of violence and vice should point something to you. Then you ignore that. The same me talking to people about violence, I'm taking you to a private room, maybe outside of your comfort zone. Maybe I'm taking you absolutely, and you're following me. You say, okay, let's see what will happen. What do you want to see that will happen? By the time you see what happens, it will probably be too late for you to live to tell the story.
Thank you so much for your insight on that report. A late-night attack in Buza community, Zinc local government area of Taraba State, has left one person dead and 3 others critically injured. The assailant, identified as Mr. Dennis, is said to be mentally unstable. The incident happened around 11 p.m. on Saturday when the suspect, known in the area for roaming the streets dressed in white and pretending to preach, suddenly launched the assault. The victim, Hamayaru Chayoling, died on the spot, while 3 others, including 2 vigilante members, sustained serious injuries. Residents say the suspect had clashed with vigilantes in the past, accusing them of restricting his movement. They also confirmed that he was often seen with light weapons, raising safety concerns in the area. The injured are receiving treatment at Zinc General Hospital. Security agencies have opened an investigation to determine the circumstances surrounding the attack. Authorities have assured residents that steps are being taken to prevent further incidents and restore calm in the community. This particular story drags me a little bit to what has happened in Brass local government. I think they called that place Egwema 2 weeks ago, where the governor of everybody needs to cool off as a madman picked up a machete and cut off someone's neck on a bike. Do you think we pay enough attention to mental health? Let's talk about it.
You see, this is one of the quarrels I have with our society, our state, our Nigeria, your Nigeria, my Nigeria, Nigeria. there are many things we pretend don't happen or don't need attention, but they stare us in the face. You see, we don't have this culture of, attending to mad people as if this is a social, as if it's a societal menace. We see them all over the place, roaming the streets, and I don't think it ought to be so. Even for the sake of the madman and the people, we have had cases where madmen attack people. We have had cases where madmen, not with intention, they say, "Oh, he just threw a stone," and the stone hit somebody. And you know that stone would have only been thrown by a madman. But the thing is that it's not just a madman that just went mad. He has been known to be mad over the years. In some cases, he have known to be. And we also have cases where people have also, attacked a mad person for trying to protect themselves against the raging madman. But the thing is that if we have a society, some of us should be kept away from the streets.
Why are they on the street? We have some of them even in our city.
If you ask me why they are on the streets, I will answer you by asking you, why is it that we don't have electricity in spite of the fact that we know it? So it's the same negligence we adopt in every other thing in Nigeria, because there should be a Ministry of Social Welfare,
right? And
in some cases we have it. For example, a place like River State, I know we have it. There should be some states in Nigeria don't even have a psychiatric hospital. A psychiatric hospital, what's the name? Why don't families of those who are mentally sick take their family member sick to the psychiatric hospital? You are ashamed of taking your family member to the psychiatric hospital, but he roams the streets, which brings more disgrace to the family. You think it's a stigma going to psychiatric hospital? It's more of a stigma roaming the street than the dangers that can come out of it. And then if the people refuse, I keep saying, and when I talk about internal discipline and external discipline, if you have a functional society where things will work, even if the family refuse to take the person, that's why you have a Ministry of Social Welfare that can take people. Like in this case now, he had attacked people before. Why was no report made? Why was no effort made to take the guy off?
Because he was already showing signs of violence.
Absolutely. He had clashed with vigilante people, the report says. He had, this death is unnecessary. Why now they will take him off the street, but the deed has already been done. And the fun thing is that this may not be the only madman, but because this has killed somebody, they will take this man off the street. Even within the same locality, there will be some other madmen roaming the street, and people will say, "I'll leave him now. Now he's not disturbing anybody." The issue is not disturbing anybody. Is that guy needs attention
because he's not mentally stable.
Absolutely. If we see from the point that he needs attention, and we owe it ourselves, which is why we have a society. Like I keep talking about social conditions that are right to society, which is why we have a government, we have a system that should be working. That guy at that stage can't help himself. So society needs to come together and help him. And ideally, society should have put in place structure. This is why, like I said, I keep talking about Ministry of Welfare. You have a psychiatric coach. I would have taken the guy in for his own safety and for the good of society, because he also needs to be safe, to be treated. It may not be a lost case. Maybe a little medical care can return him to a stable state of mind. And if he's returned to a stable state of mind, who knows what he can contribute to society. Right.
Now, where do we draw the line between religion and insanity? Now, I want to ask this as regards. Why you laugh? Because most times in Africa and in Nigeria, my Nigeria and your Nigeria, like you rightly said, when people begin to show signs of mental instability, high mental instability, you talked about family not wanting to be, it's usually attributed to they've sent him, is juju. Where do we draw the line to say, okay, this is a mental problem, it is not a religious problem, it is not a juju business, it's not coming from village? Where we get to learn as people to draw the line.
The thing is that man would always like to create an answer to some things. Whether those answers is not like much like a child in a classroom giving some classwork to do, and you need to provide answer. You would definitely provide answer. It's for your teacher to check whether that answer is right or wrong. Okay. So we have a societal problem. Mental issue, just not like in time past, people with swollen stomach. At least let me remind of is it Anuka Okonkwo's Chinua Achebe's Swallowpart father died of swollen stomach. He was taken to the evil forest. He wasn't given a burial, which is a stigma and disgrace to the family. You know. But at that time, society couldn't understand why somebody's stomach could be swollen. They didn't have all the diagnosis we have today to diagnose and notice that, oh, maybe that may even have been a simple fluid that needed to be taken out or something. But because answer couldn't find, it's attributed to, I mean, if it is beyond my senses, then it must be something extra human. So we attribute it to one spiritual thing. In some cases, it may be true, at least if you live in this part of the world. It might be the fact that maybe there are some spiritual cases. But we also know that some of those things that have been attributed as spiritual cases at times have also found medical care. So if you think we can attribute some, where do we draw the line? But the thing is this, whether it's attributed to demon on the first mental health, if a system that says once somebody is mentally sick, just like malaria, malaria can be said to be a health issue, and some other person can tell you that that mosquito that beat him is a demon. If not, how did that small mosquito come? Of all of us, why did that mosquito bite? So it's thinking. But you see, the more society keep providing answer through scientific method, the more some of these things would be subsumed. You know, if that guy who was said to be mentally sick as a result of village people or demon is taken to a psychiatric hospital and he got treated and he came back to his senses, that means a psychiatric hospital can also find a cure for village people's sickness. So if another person is sick, whether it be village people or not, so people will be motivated to say, oh, let's take him to the hospital. Psychiatric hospital is as much a hospital as the clinic where you go to take your malaria, you go to get treated for malaria and other. So it's about the system. Whether the people, the family people around believe it's demonic or not, government-owned society a responsibility to take that person in and treat the person. Of course, we know that take their sick to religious home, which you can't deny them. But if you are not keeping that person away from the street, if that person is constituting a nuisance to society, states have to come in. If in your religious place where you're treating that person is subjected to abuse, because at times some of these things also happen. You see people who have been taken in to be treated for mental health. They say it's a demon and they start flogging. Oh, yes. So if it's a society that is big on rights, human rights, you know that this guy, even though he's mentally sick, he deserves some dignity as a human person. And you stop that guy flogging him to say, come on, this guy is first a citizen before he's a member of your religion. Some of these things would reduce. So if you're going to cast out the demons, I don't have a quarrel with you casting out the demons, but it's not going to be by inflicting harm on him. I mean, the guy is sick in his mind and you're inflicting physical harm on him, which could even make him become more violent. And so I think it also comes to society. We have not developed that system that sees it as a responsibility, where government sees it as a responsibility to cater for everybody, whether that guy is mentally sound or not. If he's mentally sound, there's a place for him to go. I mean, there's a whole lot of things around this mental issues, even with parents. How many parents would want their child to study to study? You mean you want to study medicine? Yes, then you say you want to specialize in psychiatric medicine. There is this saying that, oh, the person who treats mad person will act like mad person. So your parents will probably say, God forbid. But, society should have a way of making people incentive to make people do the right thing. Those that have been taken to a psychiatric hospital and got better, let us even advertise them. Let people know that there is hope, even for that mad person.
Thank you so much for your insight on that report. Officers on Monday fired tear gas to disperse protesters demanding the release of indigenous people of Biafra leader Nnamdi Kanu in Abuja. The protesters gathered opposite the Transcorp Hilton Hotel but were met with heavy security presence. Shortly after, the demonstration began. Operatives fired multiple tear gas canisters and gunshots into the air. The protest leader, Omoyele Sowore, and several others fled the scene as the air filled with smoke. It remains unclear if there were any injuries during the dispersal. The protest followed growing calls for President Bola Tinubu's administration to expedite the judicial process or grant Kanu unconditional release. The march also defied an interim injunction by Justice Mohammed Umar of the Federal High Court, which barred demonstrations around sensitive government locations, including the Presidential Villa, National Assembly, and Eagle Square. Security forces maintained a strong presence in the area as protesters retreated from the scene. When can we have a free protest, a peaceful, free protest, devoid of canister shooting? Let's talk about it.
It still shows that we are truly not, even though we are in a democratic or civilian rule, we are truly not a democratic society where people can exercise their rights. I mean, the right to protest is that of the people, and the question for which they are protesting, it's simply a question of justice. This protest wouldn't have been necessary if our justice system is one that is swift. Look at those arrested in Finland. Arrested, but the judicial process is done with, he has been sentenced. And so if this process has been, we have a judicial system that is speed in carrying out its process. I mean, just every other thing in Nigeria, there's a slow process. But if not for the slow process, probably this trial would have been concluded. The guy would have gone home or have been convicted. Maybe he would have gone through the appeal or something. So it points to a greater rot in our system. And I think for most of the people protesting, I think that's the basis for which they are protesting. In case of justice and injustice, you feel like, okay, it is his right to enjoy. Would he be behind that? Like that. For me, if you ask me, that is not an indication whether he is right or wrong, but it's just a call for the judicial process to be speedy. And I think that's what the government should do. The judicial process, the prosecution process should be carried out speedily so that he can either be set free or convicted. And everybody knows that he is behind bar for or having been convicted by the proper judicial process, or he has been set free having gone through the proper judicial process. Then, like your question, this issue of always tear gassing protesters, I think is something the authorities should be concerned about.
Over 7 million people are currently protesting in the U.S. In several states. There has not been a single mention of them being tear gassed.
Yeah, even though with respect to the USA, there have been cases where, the president have tried to employ the National Guard, to conquer the testing, but there is still a level of human rights respect. They understand that it is the people. I mean, some of the officials also know, even if you tell that police officer to go tell these people, he knows that, sir, this is not what I am called to do. They just set the barricade. You don't go past this protest as far as you remain a peaceful protester. I mean, like I said earlier, protest is part of your fundamental right as a citizen. And what does it even mean to protest? It's just to express displeasure. Just not the same way I can come to you and say, I don't like what you do to me. I shouldn't be slapped for that. As far as I leave it that I don't like what you did to me, I don't like what you're doing to me, then if I raise my hand against you,
that's a different story.
Absolutely. So that's much what a protest is. Is society or those who feel aggrieved saying we don't like what is happening. It's about airing their voice. So I don't think there should be much ado about that. Just that as far as they don't obstruct other people's movement, and all this, many times you hear the authorities say, or the police people say, oh, don't protest because we got a security report that the protest would be infiltrated, criminals will be infiltrated. Why not deal with the criminals? Why always have criminals have their way every time there want to be a protest, especially the one that seem to be against the system? You always have a security report that criminals will infiltrate it, and your security report does not point you to that criminal, so you can take them out. It's always about the people forgoing their rights in order to satisfy the criminals. This question.
Now, given all the questionable circumstances raised, today is 28th of October.
Yeah, commemoration of
NSAS, and now people have been tear gassed the same way. People were being tear gassed, and even though we've not heard of active shooting, we've not a full scorecard if anybody was hurt or injured. Do you think that our security agencies learned any lesson from the event of NSAS?
No, they didn't, and there's actually no reason to learn anything, because I mean nobody has been prosecuted for the death at Lekki. There have been many instances of high-handedness before and after the Lekki incident. People really prosecuted for abuse of power. So if people don't get prosecuted for abuse of power, what is there to learn? I mean, there's nothing to learn. They know they'll be protected by the system. The system supports such abuse of power, because what is happening when every time you tear gas peaceful protesters is abuse of power. In other crime, you protect the protesters, provide them security so that the so-called criminals which use as excuse to deny them the right to protest don't infiltrate them. But here, it doesn't happen. So there is really nothing to learn until the system changes, until the mindset of those in authority changes, until they understand that protest is the people's right to express opinions, that you are calling for, for the disbandment of the government or something. Just like I said, if we don't like what is happening, you say we ought to air your voice. It's just as simple as that.
Thank you so much for your insight on that report. And this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Atlantic Society Watch. Thank you, Chuki Ikechike, for coming on the show. We appreciate all the good insights you've given. Remember, we are open for sponsorship of this program, jingles and other placements, news and events coverage, personality, society and political interviews, product service promotions, and commercials. You can watch us live on www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We're also on Avo TV channel 205, the Mix TV platform, Ifestec platform, Apple TV, Niger TV, and Iroko TV. Connect with us on all our ATN socials. Subscribe, like, and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. We're on X on Atlantic TV Net. Remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Otaria Benjamin. Stay with us. Up next is International Tidbits.